One match, one result. And just like that, a man's World Cup was over. Tunisia hadn't even unpacked properly. Their opening game against Sweden had barely finished, and the federation had already made the call. Sabri Lamouchi was gone. But here's what makes this different from every other sacking in football history. This wasn't just a coaching change. This was something that had never happened before. Not once, not in 92 years of World Cup football. No manager had ever been fired after a single World Cup game, until now. So how did it get this bad? The 5-1 scoreline was brutal, humiliating even. But that result didn't happen in a vacuum. The problem started long before Tunisia stepped onto that pitch in Monterrey. Lamouchi had won just one of his 5 games in charge. One. Before the tournament, they lost 1-0 to Austria. Then 5-0 to Belgium, 5-0 in a friendly. The warning signs were screaming, and nobody acted. But the scorelines weren't even the worst part. Inside that squad, something was breaking down. During the Sweden match, defender Jan Valeri was substituted off, and he didn't hide how he felt about it, visibly furious, on the biggest stage in world football. That kind of moment doesn't happen in a healthy dressing room. And then came the report that reportedly pushed the federation over the edge. Lamouchi had brought his son into Tunisia's World Cup training camp. Think about what that means. An environment built entirely on trust, discipline, and focus. And the head coach brought in an unauthorized family member. Federation officials were not happy. And once trust breaks at that level, it rarely comes back. Sweden didn't cause the crisis. Sweden just exposed it. Within 24 hours, the decision was made. Lamouchi out. And Tunisia had created a moment that will be referenced in football forever. The first World Cup coaching dismissal after a single match. Now they needed someone to walk into the wreckage. They called Hervé Renard. If that name sounds familiar, it should. This is the man who stood in front of Saudi Arabia at the 2022 World Cup and somehow convinced them to beat Argentina, Lionel Messi's Argentina, one of the greatest upsets the sport has ever seen. Renard is experienced. Renard is respected. But even Renard can't manufacture time. Because Tunisia still have Japan and the Netherlands to face, 2 of the most organized and dangerous sides in this tournament. And Renard has days, not weeks, to fix a broken squad, rebuild belief, and somehow save this campaign. Some will call the sacking brave, decisive leadership when it mattered most. Others will call it exactly what it looked like, pure panic. But here's the question that matters now. Did Tunisia just make the boldest call of this World Cup? Or did they destroy their own campaign before it ever had a chance? Subscribe, because we're going to find out.